Hello, AACPS staff, and welcome to our short video tutorial on returning to an already delivered Lumio lesson so that you can see what students contributed to any whole group, small group, or even individual handouts so that you can see how they did engaging in any of the activities that will show you some of that data or analytics for how the students did. So here we are on our Lumio library, and what you're going to do is select the Class Sessions option from the four tabs across the top. Once you enter into class sessions, it's going to show you all of the different activities that you have delivered to students, and it's going to give you a date and timestamp so that you can easily distinguish them from one another. Note that you also have the option to rename activities. So if you want to be more specific when you're returning later and you don't want to have to remember what time does period two actually start, you could rename each of these period one, period two, or something more specific to distinguish, particularly if you're delivering the same lesson multiple times. But in order to jump into one to see the students' results, you're going to click on this review tab right here. And it's going to open your lesson in a window that looks very familiar to what it looked like when you were delivering the lesson live to your students. But instead of having the students join right now and having them engage with the tools, what you're going to find on any of the pages where the students could contribute, where it was set as whole class whiteboard, individual handout, etc., or whether there was an activity, you'll have a button here that will say something like view class progress or see student results. And when you select on it, you'll have the option to see what students have contributed. So on this particular page, for example, once it loads, we'll see that students have added lots of different ideas to the page in response to the question, what happens when you increase the gravity in that particular simulation? And if I select on one of the options, I can see right here at the top who this particular contribution was added by so that I can keep the kids accountable for what they've added to any of these activities. If I continue on progressing through the file, you'll see I have the ability to run some of these, view the students' progress on the individual handouts. This one's going to come up and show me the different students as almost like thumbnails that had joined into the class. I can select on any of them to see what specifically they added to that lesson. And then when we get into the activities, this is where, for this particular smart response option, we can see an option here to review the results. When we select on it, it takes us through each of the questions and shows us how the students did responding to this. So 8 of my students responded correctly with answer C. 3 of my students were distracted by B. 1 student was distracted by D. 3 students didn't answer the question at all. And if I move through each of the questions in this, I can continue to look at that information. And when I export the results, I'll actually be able to match up who responded to each of these questions so that I can score the students appropriately based on evaluating this file after it's been delivered. So that's a quick look at how you can get back into a Lumio lesson after you've delivered it to students so that you can see the results and contributions that students made to the file.